After the FMS assessment, the patient recorded a score of 13 out of 21. This is a poor score and can leave the patient at a higher risk of injury. I conducted an in-depth objective assessment to further investigate what might be contributing to the patient's poor functional movement. In the deep squat, inline lunge, and hurdle step, I found poor thoracic extension, poor lumbar extension, poor dorsiflexion, and poor hip flexion range of motion to be the main issues in these exercises.
You happy?
Yeah, and bring it forward. Yeah. And now bring your foot back a little bit further.
This one?
Yeah, no, the front foot.
And am I allowed to move the other foot?
No, I mean, you can move the other foot. It's more about keeping that foot on the front foot planted and making sure that heel doesn't lift. This is the knee to wall test. This tests the patient's ankle dorsiflexion. The patient had 7 centimeters on the right and 6 centimeters on the left, indicating poor range of motion, with not allowing the knee to travel past the foot and causing poor squat depth in the deep squat and inline squat. Small bit of lift in there. Try again just one more time. Yeah. Correct. So just same thing again. Just stand there to the bed there, just knee up there, and then just like onto the bed there, and then just scoot down just a touch. Don't make such a perfect. Correct. So there is again. So if there was no recommended tightness, did you like that?
Yeah.
There's a small bit of knee extension there. So I'm just going to get the measure. This test is called the Thomas test and helps indicate if a patient has poor iliopsoas, TFL, and rectus femoris flexibility and lengthening. I use this test as poor rectus femoris and iliopsoas length would help explain the patient's poor hip flexion range of motion. The patient did not have poor iliopsoas or TFL flexibility as their leg was not raised off the plinth and was not abducted or externally rotated to the side. However, the patient did have poor rectus femoris flexibility and length as their knee was flexed at 45 degrees on the left and 40 on the right, with a normal result being between 80 to 90 degrees, indicating poor muscular length. Like this, and then going here. Yeah, grand. So. Basically, I'm just going to hold the dynamometer over your leg, and I just want you to push up as hard as you can for like 3, 4, 5 seconds.
Okay.
Until you want to stop, right? As hard as you can, right? Right. So.
Over where are you going to put it?
On your knee, on your leg here.
Right, to press
Just
up.
push up as hard as you can, right? So 3, 2, 1, go. In this test, I wanted to check the patient's hip flexion strength in a Thomas test position to see if their rec fem and iliopsoas were strong in a lengthened position. I used this test as good strength for controlled hip flexion is important for the deep squat, inline lunge, hurdle step, and rotatory stability test. The patient had good strength on both sides, producing 481 newtons on the left and 454 newtons on the right. Good hip flexion strength is important for clearing the cord in the hurdle step, hip flexion without needing lumbar compensation in the rotatory stability test, and assisting in eccentric control in the descent of the deep squat and inline lunge. Push, push, push. Hard as you can, keep going. 3, 2, 1, and relax. How's that? Any pain with that?
No.
Same thing again. Just 1 second. So, 3, 2, 1, go. Push, push, push. Hard as you can. Keep going, keep going. Push, push, push. And relax. Any pain there?
No.
Great. So I'm just going to. Can you bring this leg up to your chest there really quickly? Right. So I'm just going to put your heel onto my shoulder there and just bring it your leg to about 90 degrees there. Is that alright?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And now I'm just going to put the dynamometer here. I basically just want you to try bring your knee towards the wall as hard as you can, right?
Towards the wall?
No, towards the wall behind you. So bring it up to your chest, like.
Yeah, okay.
Grand. So. In this test, I wanted to check the patient's hip flexion strength in 90 degrees of hip flexion, as it would assess their functional strength in a mid-range position that mimics real movement demands. I also use this test as it replicates the active hip flexion in the hurdle step and tests mid to end range hip flexion control in the deep squat. The patient had good strength on both sides, producing 314 newtons on the left and 331 newtons on the right. Let me go down here. 3, 2, 1, go. Push, push, push. Keep going hard as you can. And relax. How's that?
Good.
Any pain?
No.
I'll just do it on the other side as well. So just relax that leg there and then bring this one up. Bring this one on my shoulder here. And then I'm just going to, so, here. So, 3, 2, 1, go. Push, push, push. Hard as you can, hard as you can. And relax. How's that?
Good.
No pain or anything?
No.
Great. So I'm just going to feel for your
Hip bump.
hip. No, I need like that. Just
So
one
you
second.
want joint.
Just one second. Just there. It's there. So this goes here, and then I just want you to bring your hip, not using your arms, just yourself. Just bring your hip up towards your chest as far as you can and just hold it for a second, alright?
So I'm lying down flat.
Yes, you're lying down flat. I don't want you to hold the table. Just bring your knee up to your chest and hold
Knee,
it.
one knee.
Yeah, one knee, this knee. As far as you can. Yeah, as far as you go.
That's it.
Go back down. And then just do it one more time. So 3, 2, 1, go. In this test, I wanted to check the patient's active range of motion for hip flexion. It was important to check this as poor active hip flexion range of motion could contribute to poor active single leg raise performance, would limit squat depth and cause forward trunk lean on the deep squat, and would reduce the patient's ability to clear the cord in the sagittal plane in the hurdle step. The patient had 115 degrees of active hip flexion bilaterally, with normal results being between 120 to 130 degrees, indicating poor hip flexion range of motion. Yeah, perfect. Grand. So again, if you wouldn't mind, just bring your knee up. Just come back down if you want. Try not to come like out, just go up if you can.
Okay.
Grand. So just do it there. Oh, that's alright.
Yeah.
Right, so basically, I'm just gonna get you down. Okay, just watch what I'm doing. So basically, I want you to, if you can, I want you to get down onto your elbows. I want you to sit back onto your heels. I want you to fully kind of like get down as much as you can. And really like lock your kind of L spine into place and just sit there. And then basically I'll get you to put your left hand or right hand on the back of your head. And then I want you to extend your upper spine up and rotate outwards like that. So up and out like that as much as you can. And I'm going to put the inclinometer onto your back. And I'm just going to see how much you come up and out. Right? And then one more time. And then come back. In this test, I wanted to check the patient's active thoracic extension range of motion. This exercise is good as it locks the lumbar spine and allows for an accurate reading of thoracic extension range of motion. It was important to test thoracic extension as good extension range of motion is required to maintain an upright torso during the deep squat and inline lunge and allows for better overhead positioning for the shoulder mobility test. The patient had 18 degrees of extension and rotation, with normal values being up to 28 degrees, indicating that their thoracic extension needed improvement. And then do it on the other side. Yeah, and come back down. And then do it one more time. Basically, I'm going to have the inclinometer into around, so I'm just going to I'm just going to feel for your ribs.
Ribs are there.
Ribs are here. Yeah. I'm just going to come around. Yeah, T12 there. And then I'll also go one below it for S1. So I'm going to just want you to really keep an upright trunk and then just push your hips forward and really just bend your lower back when you go down, right? So I'm just going to hold it against you here.
So I'm going back towards you.
Yeah. Come back up here. I'm just going to this side. Yeah, and then come back. And come back. Yeah, and come up again. I'm going to go slightly down and come back down again. In this test, I wanted to check the patient's active lumbar extension range of motion. It was important to measure lumbar extension as poor lumbar extension causes the trunk to lean forward in the deep squat and inline lunge, causes thoracic compensation in the push-up test, and reduces stability and cannot resist rotation in the rotatory stability test. The patient had 25 degrees of lumbar extension, with normal values being 29 degrees, indicating a need for improvement. So just really focus on bringing that, keep that like your shoulders straight while doing it, and then just bring your arm back and keep it straight. So do your left arm first. Grand. And then just bring it back down to a normal position. Now do it again. In this test, I wanted to measure the patient's active shoulder extension range of motion. It is important to check this as there is an important element of shoulder extension in the shoulder mobility test in the bottom arm, with poor shoulder extension leading to trunk rotation or scapular compensation. The patient had 50 degrees of shoulder extension bilaterally, with normal values being between 40 to 60 degrees, indicating good range of motion. Do it again there. I'm just going to try you here, and then I just want you to bring your arm up towards the ceiling
As straight as I can.
Yeah, straight as you can. Yeah. So you go back down. Alright, you can go now. In this test, I wanted to measure the patient's active shoulder flexion range of motion. It is important to check this as good shoulder flexion range of motion is required to maintain the dowel over the feet for the deep squat and is required to reach the top arm behind the back effectively for the shoulder mobility test. The patient had 170 degrees of shoulder flexion bilaterally, with normal values being between 160 to 180 degrees, indicating good range of motion. Keep your back a bit straighter. Yeah, grand. So I'm just going to check external rotation on your arm again, except I'm going to be doing a different position. So before I had you out here, I'm just going to do it from here, and then just roll it back, and then just let me know how, if that's kind of difficult, right? So just keep it like that. I'm going to hold this here. Keep it at your elbow, and then I'm just going to, sorry, one sec. I'm going to rotate your arm downwards. How's that? In this test, I wanted to measure the patient's shoulder external rotation range of motion. It is important to check this as external rotation is an essential part of the movement of the top arm in the shoulder mobility test. If range of motion is poor with external rotation, it won't allow the top arm to reach far behind the neck and back in the shoulder mobility test. The patient had 70 degrees of external rotation bilaterally, with normal values being between 90 to 110 degrees, indicating a need for improvement. I'm just going to hold this here. Hold this here, and then I'm just going to take it outwards. Alright?
Yeah.
How's that?
Full extension.
Take it further? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Grand. So I'm just going to bring your arm out again, but I'm not going to go back. I'm going to go. Slow. I'm just going to go. Sorry about that. How's that? Alright. In this test, I wanted to measure the patient's internal shoulder rotation range of motion. It was important to check this as good internal rotation is required by the bottom arm to reach up and behind the back to try and reach the other hand in the shoulder mobility test. The patient had 90 degrees of internal rotation, with normal values being between 70 to 90 degrees, indicating good internal rotation range of motion. Just rotate. How's that? Alright?
Yeah, then it's better to start just squeeze.
Yeah, grand. So just right arm up and left leg down, and then opposite. And really try to control that movement, and really try to keep your lower back into the ground. Just keep that lower back into the ground as best you can. Keep breathing as well. In this test, I wanted to examine the patient's performance in completing a dead bug exercise. This exercise would evaluate their lumbopelvic control and anterior core stability. It is important to check this as good anterior core stability is required to maintain spinal alignment in the trunk stability push-up test, and good lumbopelvic stability is required to resist pelvic rotation in the rotatory stability test. The patient was able to complete 14 controlled reps, indicating good anterior core stability and lumbopelvic control, but technique needs to be improved. Do 2 more each side. Alright, so 3, 2, 1, go. In this test, I wanted to examine the patient's performance in completing a plank endurance exercise. This exercise would evaluate their anterior core endurance and their ability to maintain spinal alignment under load. It is important to check this as good anterior core endurance is needed to maintain spinal alignment under load, with the anterior core working isometrically in the trunk stability push-up test and the rotatory stability test. The patient was able to maintain a 2-minute plank, indicating good anterior core endurance. You need the explanation. So basically, I'm just going to get you to do a single leg raise. I'm going to do it for you, And basically, I just want to make sure there's no arch in your lower back while you're doing it.
Okay.
And I'll check for like lumbopelvic instability. I'll be like abdominal stuff as well, so I'm just going to check for that. So really quickly, I'm just going to grab this again. So just completely relax there. Just relax your leg. Just completely relax. Just let it sit into my hand.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to raise it. How's that? You go any further?
Yeah. Buckle.
Okay, just making sure. Just stretch. So again, just completely relax the leg. Just completely relax the leg into my hand there.
Yep.
How's that? Alright. In this test, I wanted to check the patient's passive single leg raise range of motion to assess hamstring flexibility. It is important to check as it isolates hamstring flexibility to rule in or out it contributing to a poor active single leg raise score rather than poor hip flexion range of motion. In the passive single leg raise, the patient had 90 degrees on the right and 80 degrees on the left, with normal values being between 70 to 90 degrees, indicating good hamstring flexibility. This indicates that the patient's poor active single leg raise score could be affected by their poor active hip flexion range of motion. And I basically just want you to keep your leg straight, but I want you to squeeze your glute and raise your leg up to the ceiling, alright? So just 1 second.
Like that?
But keep your legs completely straight when I'm doing it. Right, so. Alright, go there. Completely squeeze your glute and your hamstring and just bring your leg straight up. In this test, I wanted to check the patient's active hip extension range of motion. It is important to check this as poor hip extension range of motion can reduce trunk control in the deep squat, cause a forward trunk lean in the inline lunge, and reduce stance leg stability in the hurdle step. The patient had 20 degrees of hip extension bilaterally with normal values being between 10 and 20 degrees, indicating good hip extension range of motion. Yeah, and relax.